staying alive. All that I feel is a fire inside. I have outrun it. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. This is my time, faster than ever, hungry and I'm going to come back and take what is mine, bigger and better. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. Saddle, cut to the chase. I ain't somebody who stays in one place. Ready to go, I'm coming to play. You better know I still got something to say. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know that I was born for this. I was born for this. Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know I was born. I tell you I was born for this. Ain't nothing gonna stop me now. I was born for this.
From the Chicagoland Speedway, the drivers of the Northwest Racing Series Cup Division are back at it again after a nice summer break, celebrating our nation's independence and 4th of July, and we are ready to go. Here at Chicagoland, it'll be a night race, and we hope that you are strapped in and ready for it. This is iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network, 87.9 FM, and we are set for coverage here tonight from the Windy City, virtually on the iRacing simulator. Good evening. I am Wesley Outland in North Carolina, joined alongside in Canada, Justin Prince. Charles Wooten is in Texas. They're right in the middle of the heart of America, the Lone Star State, taking care of our production for Rocket Media. And we are set, Justin, for Chicagoland. First off, bud, hope you had a great couple of weeks off. We're set to go back at it again here tonight.
Yes, indeed. Can't wait to see how drivers fare out tonight when it comes to this racetrack. A race under the lights at a facility that sees plenty of different lines that come into play. It should be a fun night when it comes to the race here in the Windy City. Or towards the Windy City, should say.
Yeah, by the way, Chicago all in the news in NASCAR this past week. If it was announced that they're finally going to be having their first ever street road course race at the NASCAR in Chicago in 2023. So there's a lot of hype and excitement about that. The question looms here, Justin, what will happen to Chicagoland? What will happen to this racetrack? Will it be another track that bites the dust? And, of course, if that happens, we'll still be able to make history in the virtual iRacing world.
Yeah, it still has the opportunity to be able to be a historic place for when it comes to the virtual side of things, when it comes to various different series. But, of course, you never know what can happen in the real world. The facility, keep in mind, that's been open since 2001, but hasn't really hosted any dates since 2019, remember, Wesley, after having some issues, of course, during 2020, and of course not being added back to the schedule the past couple of years. It's been an intriguing facility, though, especially with that curve back straightaway that makes it unique compared to some of the other mile and a halves across the NASCAR landscape.
Yeah, this is a very unique racetrack. It is a mile and a half here tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway. There's that arc, if you will, as you mentioned, halfway to the back straightaway. That's kind of like a curve, if you will, kind of like a I guess you would call that what we see at Phoenix, the old Phoenix Raceway, with the way the configuration of the track's been changed. But that could be something that will be interesting in this race tonight. So we're ready to go. Let's take a look at weather conditions as we get you ready for tonight's event at Chicagoland Speedway. It is air temp at 68 for the virtual sim. Wind speed comfortable at 4 miles an hour. Track temp up 2 degrees warmer than the virtual ambient temperature. It's 70 degrees track temperature, and it is clear skies. And obviously, the track's going to be nice and cool. And I think, Justin, that's going to be good for the tires. And I think that could, make things interesting with this race, especially with this new next-gen car. First time ever seeing it at Chicagoland, so it's going to be interesting to see how things develop.
Very curious to see how the drivers handle tonight. They seem very stable in practice, we'll say. The setup can tend to be a little bit tight for tonight. Keep in mind, as some drivers have struggled on corner exit with the throttle control, when it comes to these race cars. But the main thing when it comes to tonight as well is going to be if it ends up being a green flag style race, essentially, Leslie, fuel strategy could become a major talking point because with the 20-gallon tank, it's estimated for drivers to be around a 60-lap fuel run. And when you do the math, with 134 laps up on the board for tonight's race, two-stopper, but a tight two-stopper in that, you get an early caution flag, it makes it essentially a one-stopper to get to the end under green flag conditions. So don't be surprised to see drivers attempt to save a little bit, or some drivers elect to go, say, 50 or 100, try and simplify the strategy even before they get to the end of the fuel tanks tonight.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right on that. As the drivers' meeting, by the way, has just concluded, and we have cars on the racetrack ready to go with qualifying. Qualifying will be up next here on Chicagoland Speedway, and there is the legend Carl Burke, the Thrasher Racer Motors Chevrolet Camaro. He'll be the first man to test the tides here on the 1.5 miles in Chicagoland. By the way, the distance for tonight's race is 201 miles. 201 miles. And the race analysis will be on this 1.5 miles, 134 circuits for the distance of that. By the way, 2 attempts at the green-white checker if necessary in overtime. And that is the way things go. As here comes Carl Burke down below the bottom of the apron of the racetrack. And we'll see some bonsai moves like that during qualifying and especially during the race tonight here for the 53 of Burke. Works into turn number 1.
You just see how tight it can get when it comes to the corner exit. Just discussed that point. But for Carl Burke, keep in mind, some drivers like to prefer to qualify up against the wall for the first lap, build up the speed for the second lap, so they're able to carry as much momentum as possible for this run right here. Either go across to the white line or come across the apron like that for the second lap. And the time's starting to showcase that a little bit for Burke. Still, in the 31.2s currently, needs to pick up at least half a second and is struggling with that tight condition in full speed.
Yeah, certainly is. Right now, 14th best overall in his qualifying lap, and I don't think he's going to try to go for another lap, actually. He's going to just take 14th, 15th position and send it off there back around the racetrack. As right now, Kevin Smith has gone to the top of the board, 30.67 to a 30.70 to the driver of Lake Peterson. And here comes Billings, Montana native Jeff Stabnow in the 24. Got himself a top 10 finish lap the other night in the trucks at COTA. Obviously looking to try to have a decent run here tonight. And obviously, Justin, look for that first win since 2020 for the driver of the number 24 out of Billings, Montana.
Yeah, this next-gen car for parts of the season when it comes to Stabnow just hasn't seemed to gel when it comes to the 24, whether it's via luck or whether it's via the raw pace. But at other times, he's been in good spots to be able to contend up towards the front. It's just a matter of getting the luck to smile upon the right direction for him. Liking what I'm seeing so far for this qualifying attempt. Is able to stick the bottom a little better compared to Carl Burke. Isn't getting too tight. It's just a matter of did he build up enough speed to be able to jump up during the second lap higher up on the board.
Jeff Stabnow working his way, working out of turn number 4 up in the wall. Will that hurt his time? 39.73, good enough for 16th. And he will finish up with his qualifying run. Here comes Chris White now. You were saying, Justin.
I was about to say, when you hit the wall, keep in mind that it validates the lap time. So essentially, even though it was quicker, when it comes to that one rub for the wall for Stabnow, that was enough to completely take him out of the conversation for the top 10. Drivers seem to be trying to find that right balance to where you don't want to end up losing or scrubbing too much time trying to get it to the bottom of the racetrack. But at the same time, you also don't want to just full throttle it on corner exit, go up into where some of the logos are, scrape that safer barrier, and validate your lap time. That will be a major concern you have to think for the race trim as well.
Chris White, defending series champion of that Beavis Gear Willie's Addictive Barbecue Toyota Camry number 6, works his way now to start-finish. After coming halfway to the back straightaway into turn number 3, we'll see what kind of lap he puts down. 19th overall. Solid, stealth-looking gray machine working his way. He felt a little bit under the weather the other day. Good to see him back feeling better and running tonight. He'll cross the line. Oh, man, he's got to pick her up 37.98. Then now look at that. He went from 18th to 3rd. That's a good pickup there for the number 6.
And that's the exact type of line you need when it comes to corner exits. Chris White did that to near perfection, now has the track position for the race, one of his best starting positions of the season, keep in mind, for what started off as a very slow campaign, and has since seen Chris White jump to 14th, especially after his 7th at Road America.
Any more takers to take time in qualifying? It looks like nobody's going to be able to bump Kevin Smith, as there's a couple of cars of about the 25 that have yet to take time. On back, only 21 cars have went on the clock, and it looks like time is about to expire. And it looks like Kevin Smith out of Hermiston, Washington, the 00. Justin he's going to put himself on the pole again. Another strong run for that driver.
He and Lake Peterson were trading personal best when it came to final practice for tonight. Not a surprise to see that Kevin Smith able to get the upper hand over Lake Peterson in the very few final minutes of qualifying. I think those two are your drivers to watch. They've been consistent when it comes to their marks, especially when it comes to full darkness, and that track condition and track temperature drops to its peakness when it comes to under the light racing. Going to be fun to see how the 00 battles it out, though. It's not going to be easy to hold off a driver who's been the king of the long run this season, Lake Peterson.
Yeah, certainly has, and any time now that clock is going to expire. If there's any other takers that want to go on the racetrack, they better do it now. Guys like Ryan Bloom, by the way, winner this past week of the truck race at COTA. Ron Hunter, Casey Garber, William Fletcher, those drivers have yet to take time, and there is 5 minutes remaining on the clock. If they are going to take time, they better do it right now, because any moment now, that call of qualifying will be called to an end. As you see it right now, it's moved down to 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and qualifying is about to become official here at the virtual Chicagoland Speedway. And Kevin Smith has locked himself up the pole, and we are ready to introduce the starting lineup here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. Kevin Smith in the 00 is on the pole to the outside. Lake Peterson in the number 9. Row number 2 will find Chris White, defending series champion. And how about a run for the runner-up at Daytona? Aaron Cooper, the 71, will start 4th. Row number 3 will find Toby Ritters. Clifford looking good. He'll start the Thunderbird Budweiser machine in 5th. And Briar Reynolds at the 12 to the outside 6th. Row number 4, Sean Brightsman, the 2020 series champion of the 46 Brights Boutique entry. And Mr. Frank Harris has a solid qualifying run in 8th in the 11. And to round out your top 10, Stephen O'Hare in 41, Troy Daggett, the 99, a solid top 10 start for him as well.
Row 6 features Justin Yee to the inside in the Aether Chevrolet. Then it's Robert Gambill's 54 machine starting the outside of Row 6. Row 7 features Cole Raz. Keep an eye on the 10 machine as he looks to charge up with the Catman, James Vining, alongside Row 7. Row 8 features a driver made his debut at Road America, Noah Sherwinski. We'll see how his oval skills fare out with PJ Duvall alongside in Row 8. Then behind them, it's Jeff Stabnow to the inside in 17th, 18th, Chris Cameri in Row 9. Row 10 features Carl Burke and John Ottenbacher rounds out the top 20.
Moving on to row number 11, Brett Johnson in the number 7 machine to the outside, the 94 of Casey Garber. Row 12 tonight at Chicagoland finds Ryan Bloom, the ARCA Series champion of last year and winner at COTA for the trucks last Thursday in the 25. William Fletcher alongside of the 028. Row 13 will find Ron Hunter in the 22 by himself. Of the 25 drivers, 21 took time, everyone else in the back. And we are set to go here at Chicagoland. Remember, we gave you the layout, 1.5 miles here. This race will be 201 miles, 134 laps the distance here. Halfway at lap 67. Obviously, 3 sets of tires plus the set of tires that they were given. And in addition to that, Justin, 1 fast repair, 2 attempts at a green-white checker overtime if necessary. Your take of what we're going to see with this pack racing? Do you think it'll be tandem pack races like we saw at Atlanta earlier tonight on the 1.5 miles? Or you think we're going to see guys wad them up, tear them up, and have some good battles here? Your take of things here as we get ready to come to green, Justin.
It all comes down to how the drivers are comfortable in the midst of the aero push and the aero draft. But these drivers are all set to go to the new starting box set up on the racetrack.
They're going to come to the Geico restart zone, the starter box, if you will. Green flag flies in the air. We're underway at virtual Chicagoland. They'll send it off into turn number 1, and the whole shot will go to Kevin Smith, but not for long. Lake Peterson trying to get something started quickly up on the outside as they work out of turn number 2.
Smith washes up the track. Peterson keeps his pedal to the metal on the outside. Still side by side for the race lead into turn 3. Peterson lifts. Smith keeps it. Florida on the scene gets the spot for the race lead out of 4.
And ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race as Kevin Smith holding the field at bay behind Peterson. Cooper up on the outside lane. White will follow them along with Reynolds. There's your top 5 into turn 1.
Down to the bottom goes Kevin Smith. Peterson trying a little bit of a later arc, trying different lines to save those tires. The top 2 settling it down. Behind them, 3rd is up for grabs. Cooper outside, Chris White inside. White preferring the bottom of the racetrack. The 71 bobbling just above the first seam as Peterson hits the bottom.
Working their way across the start-finish line now. Remember that below the apron is allowed as they work their way back up the racetrack into turn number 1 and 2. It's Kevin Smith leading the way. There's the Valvoline colors of the Chevrolet of Lake Peterson. He sits in the number 2 spot. He tries to close it on the leader. You've got a Ford, a Chevy, and a Toyota, 1, 2, and 3 as they work 3.
Near contact between the Chevy and Toyota in through turn 3. Cooper forced to back it down. Now the battle for the Toyota is up to the front straightaway.
Across the start-finish line, it's still going to be Kevin Smith holding off that tandem on the outside lane. Here comes now the drive of the machine of Peterson. Peterson up on the outside. Here comes Cooper down to the bottom. Chris White closes in. They're side by side as he hugs the wall going to 3.
Side by side as White tries to go up to the 3rd line. Trying to go down to the 2nd with the cut. Cooper sticks to the bottom, still side by side for 3rd.
Working their way up past the start-finish line. On board with Chris White now. He sits in 3rd. He's got a couple of cars in front of him that are single file with the lead pack of Smith and Peterson. White sideways. Boy, I thought he was going to dirt track it off 2 there for a second.
Able to hold on to it though. Down the back straightaway, Cooper lets off. Chris White trying to make the outside line work. Still able to hold on to 3rd. That will be the major thing to watch. Who tries the high line? Who tries it first and gets it to work first?
Yeah, who's going to make it work? You're exactly right, Justin, as the field comes across start-finish. There's the top 5, top 6, top 7. They're all single file. Nobody jumping on the line. And everyone's single file until you get to the battle between 8th and 9th with Stephen O'Hare and Toby Ritters. That's all going on as they're single file through that arc of the corner going to 3.
Top 3 separated by 0.3 of a second. Peterson trying to find a way to poke around the 0-0. Goes high on exit. Smith still playing defense.
Cross the start-finish line. Cross the line, back up into 1 and 2. Here they come back off into the corner. Up on the outside lane, it's about to be a 3-car tandem now for that spot for 2nd. White's reeling them in. Cooper's coming in. Oh, and here comes Frank Harris to make it 5 cars, single file, right in the pack into 3.
What a run for Harris, up 3 spots from the drop of the green flag. Has to back it up though, loses ground coming off of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all single file. Was a big block down the front.
Big block of traffic on the inside. Here comes Peterson making a run for him for nothing. They're side by side now. Peterson on the inside. Smith outside for the lead. They're side by side. White ready to go. Can he go 3 wide? He's thought about it going to 3. He couldn't get there.
Peterson trying to time it up. Into the middle goes White. Smith up the track at the top of the wall. Peterson to the race lead. Takes it over after 7 laps.
Not done yet, though. Bonsai move by Chris White. He's hugging the middle, 3 wide. They settle back in. Up on the outside lane now. Peterson cannot block Smith and block White at the same time. He's got to pick who he wants to throw the block on. He'll throw the block on White. He'll go to the outside lane. Here comes Smith with Cooper and Harris. Those 5 cars reel each other in like bait on the hook again as they go to 3 in the battle for the lead. White to the inside at a 4.
Peterson gives the space. Chris White tries to wiggle it around on the bottom. Still side by side up to the flag stand. 125 laps to go already in this one. Smith preferring the top. Side by side as well for 4th as White goes for the higher arc.
And now air 2 by 2 by 2 for the lead. White to the inside. Peterson throws the block on the outside. Here comes now Smith under attack, who led in the early going. He'll now settle him back in single file. Cooper will follow with Harris, and they work out a 4.
This whole pack of cars, 9 cars deep, separated by just 9/10 of a second. To the inside, second. Kevin Smith going for the diamond underneath the 6 car of White. Still side by side, behind them, Frank Harris trying to get to the inside. Justin Yee outside sits on by the 11.
11 now make it 10 laps in here at Chicagoland Speedway. No harm, no foul so far. And to be honest with you, Justin, this race has been rarely entertaining.
Welcome to Chicagoland. It puts on plenty of intense battling, and if you play your cards right, you can make up a lot of positions. Justin Yee, the perfect example of that, up 6 positions so far over the course of the first 11 and a half laps. Battle for second. Kevin Smith nearly comes across Chris White's front bumper. Instead, White gets the draft from Peterson, tries to send it up on the 3rd line, goes below the 2nd seam, squeezes the 0-0 out of 4.
And while that goes on, here comes the pack back down to the inside. Peterson below the apron as they bonsai one another and throw a block on Chris White. All this going on in turn number 1 and 2. You see now also Frank Harris under attack by Daggett and O'Hare. This is going on behind those leaders. 2 separate packs of traffic, 4 cars in that tandem, and the other tandem of 8 as they go to 3.
And that was the major thought process here too. Who would use up their stuff on the short run? Who would use it up on the long run? So far, Harris showcasing the speed, being used up a lot on that short run after charging up to 5th position. O'Hare zipped on by already. Troy Daggett zipped on by. Now looking to zip on by the 11, Briar Reynolds. Going to the outside, coming down the back straightaway. Harris is dropping like a stone back towards where he started this race.
Yeah, whatever happened to Harris, all that movement to be had. He's fell back now about 2.5 seconds behind to the leader of Peterson now, and in front now, there goes O'Hare. O'Hare is in that lead of the 2nd pack tandem draft as they work across start finish. He is trying to get up and catch. The driver of O'Hare is for Justin Yee to catch up the first 5. That goes on at a turn number 2, and all the while it's Peterson leading that cavalry off the corner.
Race leaders looking to settle it on out. Smith again is currently to the inside in turn 3, just clearing by Chris White. We talked about it at the top. Peterson and Smith, some of the favorites for today, but throw Justin Yee in the mix as he looks to chase down the 6.
Little blinking nod also on the 0-0 of Kevin Smith as he tries to make a move down to the inside, looking for Peterson on the lead. Chris White will follow behind him. They thought about going 3 wide. Does he go to the middle? No, he doesn't. He thought better of it. He'll hook up and play wingman with Peterson. They go single file as they work into 3. And the leader is blinking. Kevin Smith with a problem there.
Kevin Smith nearly plowed the wall down even then. Coming up to the outside. Down the front straightaway, Peterson inside, off to 1. Smith giving the space. Chris White following Kevin Smith's draft. Aaron Cooper giving a poke. To the back straightaway they go. Smith quicker though. Smith has the run. Able to get the squeeze on for Peterson. Peterson gives the squeeze back up the track. Up to the 2nd line through 3 and 4. And near contact.
What a save as Smith goes up out of the wall. Here comes now Peterson on the bottom, below the apron. He'll have Chris White with him. Justin Yee also there. They're teammates. They're in the draft. They're in 1.
Down to the bottom, Yee trying to round it, getting too tight. Smith tries to hold up outside, nearly rubs the wall down the Brent-sided wall. Smith able to hold on to third for now. Yee resetting through 3 and 4 as the top 15 separate by 3.4 seconds out of 4.
And all that working their way back out of turn number 4 to start finish line. Now working 18 laps completed on lap 19 of this event. It's Blake Peterson. There's Kevin Smith. There's Chris White. That's the battle for P2 off turn 2.
Backing it up as Chris White tries to reset things, looking to try and poke around, prod around. Is that Toyota? It's taken several different looks for much of this season for Chris White before this current iteration of design has worked out for White, losing ground though off of 4.
Look at this up the racetrack. Hold it together as Peterson, but Kevin Smith is trying to slowly but surely reel them in off the corner. Here they come, back straightaway. Someone lift. No, Peterson holding off Smith as that goes on Justin into 3.
A big block on Smith, forcing Smith to lift. Big lift back from Peterson. Smith tries to keep it up high. Big block coming out of 4.
All the while, Smith now playing mind games with the 9, if you will, of Peterson. Peterson looked the outside, he looked to the inside, he goes back to the top of the racetrack. These two cars trying to pull away from the pack of Chris White and Justin Yee for 3rd and 4th. While that goes on, look at Cole Raz. Super Friends is coming. He clears O'Hare and moves to the top 5 and 3.
What did I say during the grid? Keep an eye on Cole Raz. He's been very quick mid-run throughout this season on the speedways. Up 8 positions so far. Raz needing to close up about a near second to get back up to Justin Yee and company though. Holds on to the bottom, coming down the back straightaway. Behind them, Troy Daggett nearly knocks the wall down in the 99.
21 laps in. Look at now Aaron Cooper. We haven't really mentioned much out of the 71 since the runner-up finished 2. Daytona winner Cole Raz. They work their way out of turn number 4. Back to start finish line up on the outside lane. The 99, Troy Daggett, changing his numbers, changing his car wrap job as well. Justin, he is in the 99 Nike color, if you will. He normally is in the 51. He's got a solid top 10 run in 8.
So far, so decent when it comes to 99 up 2 positions. But for the race lead, side by side, Peterson losing the bottom again. Smith tries to burp the throttle, can't as Peterson holds on.
Cross the start finish line, put another lap on the board. And all the while, it is still the driver of Lake Peterson holding everyone at bay. Behind there is Kevin Smith. There's that 2-car tandem pulling away. Then there's about a half a car length, 4 or 5 car lengths, if you will, until you find Justin Yee. Yee to White. White with Raz. That goes on for 4th and 3.
Raz gets the space from Chris White. Raz able to jump up to a race-high 4th position. And now the conversation is on with the pressure building for the race lead. Can Yee and Raz make it extremely interesting with how this is playing out? Peterson's had to play a lot of defense, Wesley, in these opening stages so far on this 0-0.
Yeah, certainly is, as all that goes on. Battle for the lead, trying to heat up again between Peterson and Smith, but there goes Chris White. Chris White and Cole Raz. This is for 4th, 3rd, 4th, and 5th for that matter. They're all single file as O'Hare tries to close in and make all that happen. It was pretty intense the opening 25 laps, but Justin, now it has calmed it down to single file racing. Single file for the time being as they work their way back off into the corner.
Behind them, the battle on for Toby Rinners on Aaron Cooper. It's for 7. The 23 dropped back a bit off the start, kept it calm, but now looking to roar his way through the Thunder Road towards the Windy City. He jumps up to 7.
And there's the battle heating up for the lead again between Peterson and Smith, but all the while, we look at Ritters now, beginning to climb in 23. Cooper along with Brightsman. This all goes on as we approach 30 laps in to this race at Chicagoland. All the while, It is Peterson holding everyone at bay. It is a hornet's nest. Justin Prince behind him as they settle to 3.
The Hornets' Nest trying to continue to keep on buzzing. Rivers making the top line work. Keep in mind, amongst those also charging back long run, Sean Brightsman, who lost plenty of spots early going. Back up to the 8th position, looking to keep Toby Ritters at bay. Ritters high side, Brightsman bottom.
It is Peterson, the leader, Smith in second all the while now. Ritters and Brightsman now have a nice battle going on. This is going on for 7th and 8th spot. Meanwhile, back to the battle for the lead as they work out of turn number 3 and 4.
Down the front, these two have been fighting extremely busily throughout this entire race so far. For 28 laps straight, Smith again tries to poke. Has to back it off on Peterson. Behind them, trouble. It's the 96, Shawinski. Having to back it down and slow it down. Down the back straightaway, the leaders contact. Peterson hit by Smith down the back straightaway. They both save it.
They both saving it all the while. Here comes Cole Raz now, ready to go into the dogfight and making a 3-car battle for the lead. Yee left hung out to dry. Raz, Super Friends coming. Here's a replay of what happened with the battle for the lead, as we were mentioning the problem with the other car, Justin, in turn 2.
Take a look at this exit. Peterson's been getting a bit slidey on the exits. Smith with a huge run, a huge block, nearly getting hooked to the inside. They both back it up. They both save it. And now, all of a sudden, Cole Raz has a great chance to be able to try and maybe pass both of them here.
What a save they both made. No harm, no foul. And all the while, here comes Cole Raz, as you mentioned, Justin, in that number 3 position. We are 30 laps into this race. It is Peterson the leader, Smith in second, Raz third, Yee fourth, and White the top 5. O'Hare, Brightsman, Ritter, Stabnow, and Gamble the top 10. The interval from the top 10 separated by 3.8 seconds. And here comes Peterson looking on Smith, going to the lead in 3 and 4.
Smith's got the run, tries the diamond. Peterson goes to the bottom, takes away the line from Smith. Raz falls the draft of the 9. Smith forced up to the top side. Elects to run up against the wall. Raz stays to the bottom. Peterson really backing it down with Smith with the preferred line on the exit.
3 cars fighting for the lead on lap 31. Peterson inside. Smith is up, ways at the wall. You saw him in a shower of sparks as he hit the outside. Safer wall barrier. He'll fall back to 3rd. Here comes Raz now. He'll lick his chop. Super Friend ready for a chance to pounce on Peterson as they go into turn number 1.
The side drafting has been used intensely throughout this battle. How does Peterson use it on Raz? Coming down off of 2. Raz with the pull. Peterson forced to lift. Raz scrapes the wall. Raz holds on to it. Here comes Smith back to the inside, jumping up to 2nd, but a new race leader. It's Cole Raz in the black and red machine.
Smith made a run for the lead. He bounced off the wall, fell back to 3rd. Raz made a run for the lead, bounced off the wall, and he still has all that momentum to go to the lead still. New leader amongst those 3 drivers. Raz, Smith, Peterson, 3 different lead changes, and it's Raz's time to shine with 100 laps to go. Next time by, the leaders are off 2.
Smith having to lift hard with the dirty air, starting to show signs of the tire wear. All while Peterson wants the bottom back. He takes it away from Smith. Smith holds on to 2nd though with the toe and with the pinch off of the nearly to the wall.
All of this going on with Raz now pulling away, now almost a quarter of a distance, if you will, back to Kevin Smith. Blake Peterson falling back to 3rd. Justin, you gotta wonder, maybe tires have been worn out as now Daggett battles with Cooper. This goes on inside the top 10.
Well, for these drivers, significant tire fall off, a bit of a lift from Cooper. Here we get into the 99 down the back straightaway, but holding on firmly there. Robert Gambill tries to run middle to bottom in the midst of this middle line for just about everybody else in the choo-choo train.
You mentioned that choo-choo train, you mentioned that tandem right now as they work their way past the start-finish line. The 99, normally the 51, Troy Daggett's car. He is sitting in the number 11 position, trying to reel in Robert Gamble to sneak into the top 10. This is the best battle on the racetrack as everyone else in the top 9 have gone single file battle for position in the 3.
Daggett gets to the inside. Bit of a lift off with Gamble giving space. Gamble with a different look for today. Able to keep it steady though. In the 10th position. Looking to hold on towards that top line. Daggett trying to make the bottom side work. And just do it. Despite the wiggles.
Despite the wiggles, despite all of that chaos, this battle continues on. It's Raz the leader, Smith in second, Peterson third, and look at now this calming down between Robert Gamble in 10th, Daggett in 11th. He's trying to climb. He's carrying more cars with him. Garber in the 94, Audenbacher in 89, and Cooper trying to get back in the top 15 as they cross the line.
Cooper last time by, though, for reference, a 33 flat compared to the rest of the leaders in the 32 6s to 8. Gamble trying to hold on, gets high up the track, nearly to the wall. Daggett gets the run. Daggett to the inside, bringing Casey Garber now outside to set things up. Side by side they go for the top 10 spot. Daggett just about clear as Gamble scrapes the wall.
Scraping the wall. Look at this, cars in the pack right there, 3 wide. Oh, hold on there. Boy, oh boy, what a save. As Gamble up under attack by Audenbacher and Garber. Now, the Nike 99 of Daggett under attack by Garber. He's trying to go to the top 10 as they go into turn number 3.
Casey Garber tied for the most positions gained if he can make this work on the bottom. Plus 12. After being one of the drivers not qualify too well. In fact, not setting a time, is now clear on Daggett. Now down into turn 1. Garber looks to try and focus on the next mark. Jeff Stabnow, who's in 9th.
Coming up on 40 laps now here at Chicagoland Speedway. It has been a land rush of excitement in the top 10 in the early going. And your top 5 is Cole Raz, Kevin Smith, Blake Peterson, Justin Yee, and Sean Brightsman. We're also at the top of the hour. We'll pause for network identification, iRacing on LSRTV and on 87.9 FM, the Community Radio Network. We're back from Chicagoland in a moment.
You're listening to the Community Radio Network. Follow us via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to other games at 87.5 FM or join us anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outland, and for the second year in a row, the Community Radio Network is excited to also be the voice of iRacing on LSRTV every Monday and Thursday night with the Northwest Racing Series for Cup and Truck. Join yours truly, Justin Prince and Samuel Dyer, every week as they race towards a championship. We're also on the radio in the Triangle in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area at 87.5 WCRN and anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. Click play. Check out the coverage, the power of radio to the imagination of the listener, esports style. We are the Community Radio Network, the voice of iRacing on LSR-TV. Check it out when you can, and replays are always up too. Welcome back. We're 90 laps to go here, 134 laps the distance, 201 miles. Chicagoland, 44 laps completed. Justin Prince, I'm Wesley Outland. Welcome back to coverage. iRacing on LSR-TV and on the Community Radio Network as well at 87.9 FM. Okay, so there's new promos. We've been off for a couple of weeks. We got to get Just Charles off the schneid and get in those new things, and we'll have them hopefully by Thursday for you. So anyhow, Justin, we were talking off mic during commercial break. We're thinking the drivers, for the most part, have used up their tires. No cautions yet. But it's been very exciting racing the opening 40 laps.
And this is usually the trend when it comes to the racing at Chicagoland Speedway, where you expect long green flag runs tire wear to be a major factor when it comes to drivers being able to charge through the pack, or in some cases, charge early, then lose ground as this run goes on. And so far, we've seen both of those things come into play for drivers, but pit stops are right around the corner. Expect the window to open up in the next few laps, knowing for many of the drivers that it's a two-stopper regardless of how you slice it with how the fuel's burning. For many of these drivers, some of them are within 13 laps. A few pit signals already given for the top three, in fact.
So we're thinking green flag pit stops are coming, and they are. Robert Campbell, Frank Harris. Oh, Lake Peterson locks up, knocks a cone over as he was battling alongside Kevin Smith. And all this going on is also Justin Yee, Frank Harris, Robert Campbell, Justin on the pit lane. Lap 46 and green flag pit stops are underway.
That was a disastrous pit entry for Peterson, and that's one of the tough things when it comes to the entry at Chicagoland. It's a very sharp run. To add insult to injury, Peterson has overran the pit stall in the number 9. So Peterson not only loses a couple seconds on the entry, loses a couple seconds in the pit box as he nearly hits the wall.
So all the while, penalties forthcoming, possibly, and losing a lot of time in the pit area. Justin Yee back on course now. He has fell back a lap down. Kevin Smith a lap down. Here comes more cars. Ritter's Rex in the pit lane. He got turned by Chris White.
Wow. Toby Ritter's forced to back up a significant amount to be able to get back in. Don't know if they made contact, but it was a tough timing with BJ Duval. Reach him at the same time. They did make contact, can confirm. No damage to either car, though, as there is a bit of forgiveness with this new damage model compared to what we've seen the last oval race. When it comes to contact, Chris White into the grass. Chris White spins it.
Wow.
Chris White spins it on the apron. No caution. We stay green.
Here's the thing. Chris White's car down below the bottom of the apron, not even up on the blend rule area yet. And now he's passing it. No caution. Wow. More cars coming to pit lane. Stephen O'Hare, 41 is in now, Justin. Sean Brightsman, I was looking at timing and scoring. He, Stabnow, Daggett, now the new top 3.
Raz has completed the stop reference. Brightsman trying to still stretch it out a little bit further on the gas. He has been known for the fuel rolling of the dice throughout his career in this series. We've seen it work a couple times. Jeff Stabnow just coming in right now. That leaves just a few drivers attempting to stretch it for 9 more estimated laps for Brightsman to go. And so far, 4 drivers attempting to stretch it.
John Brightsman, the Brights Boutique entry, the 2020 Northwest Racing Series Cup champion. From Puyallup, Washington, originally, now resides in Tucson, Arizona. His Camaro is leading, or his Camry. Toyota Camry is leading the way. Jeff Stabnow, the LSRTV CRN 4K Ford, coming in for a pit stop. The Mustang already down and gone.
And keep in mind with the timing of how this is playing out here, only 4 drivers technically are on the lead lap right now. Brightsman, Troy Daggett, Brett Johnson, and Ron Hunter. So if there was any mistakes that pop up here, well, there may or may not be a big advantage if you're the 46 camp right now. But you never know when it comes to Chicagoland. Pit stop indicated for the 7, Brett Johnson coming in this time by from 3rd.
And Justin, can you imagine? Oh, Brett Johnson, sideways, losing it, trying to come into the pit lane. If he would have brought out a caution, you know what that would have been? 3 cars on the lead lap, maybe 1 on the lucky dog, and that would have been it. That would have really, really mired people in the back.
And I think, again, that emphasizes if you don't slow it down and get the right angle to be able to go on for that exit, it's a very tough time. Back straightaway contact, Stabnow and Ron Hunter. Hunter, one of the drivers trying to stretch it, lean down into the 24. We stay green as Tony Ritter's the next car trying to zip by the 22.
All this going on now on lap number 53 during a cycle of green flag pit stops at Chicagoland. Ron Hunter now, the 22. He's up to the number 3 position as all the while Cooper flying by him, trying to get back on the lead lap other cars as well. You've got fast cars mixed in with lap down cars, mixed in with cars adjusted that have not pitted yet. This is the ingredients for a disaster to happen at any moment.
Near disaster in the midst of some of this traffic. We mentioned the trouble for Shawinski earlier in this race. Just about got into some trouble with Robert Gambill and company, who tried to take it 3 wide on these drivers. That's the big difference, though, with some of the tire wear we'll have to keep an eye on throughout the rest of this run. By the way, net race lead. Kevin Smith, Cole Raz is bumper to bumper with Justin Yee in the conversation. That is 4th, 5th, and 6th, and they are all back on the lead lap.
And all the while, look at these cars. Smith, Raz, Yee back in the top 5, 6 spots, if you will. The question is, can they run down the leader, Sean Brightsman? Because they are at least 25 seconds back to those cars. Justin, here's the light at the end of the tunnel. We know Brightsman, Daggett, and Hunter are going to have to pit. When that happens, that pack of 4 cars right there are going to be your new top 4 on the racetrack.
Well, technically top 3 plus
Well,
Ryan
top 3,
Bloom.
actually. Yeah, Ryan Bloom is out. That's right. He's a lap down.
And still would be a lap down. It's down to 2 drivers staying out, by the way. Troy Daggett has just peeled it on in within 3 laps away from the pit window of Brightsman and Hunter on the edge of the tank. But that's the strategy call they're making, right? Brightsman in particular, it's a major roll of the dice.
The wall. Cole Raz slams the outside retaining wall going to turn number 1 and 2. Shower of sparks as his car is now in trouble. Can he hold it from spinning? Drops down below the bottom of the apron, Justin, and we will see no caution flag yet.
That's a broken chassis on Raz's car, trying to chug it out with this car, trying to fight, trying to go up the track. Not going to be easy. O'Hare able to keep an eye on it. Brightsman zipping by. There's the contact.
Kamari in the wall. Reynolds almost tagged him as well. They both hold it together. Still no caution. Slamming, speeding into the pit road with a broken front end is going to be the driver of Raz. You can see the toe in, the suspension, all that's on that new damage model, Justin. I'm loving it.
And that's from contact with the wall. Just try to cut across a bit of the apron, danced on it instead, and disaster for Cole Raz, who looked to be one of the cars to beat tonight. And now it's Kevin Smith and Justin Yee in the conversation to battle it out. Near caution several times over in the midst of all that.
Justin, I've got to give props real quickly to the number 12 of Briar Reynolds and the 15 of 2 laps down, Chris Kamari. That could have been calamity, collecting the 10 of Raz. That heartbreak there for that driver, for the number 10, obviously. But for those 2 drivers, I know they're a lap down or more, but that could have been the first caution of the night. They saved it.
Just barely avoiding the trigger there. But now, as Brightsman expected, it is coming down this time. Peels on down. This is now for the race lead. We're on track down the back straightaway. Kevin Smith, Justin Yee, separated by 0.3 of a second. Then the next car back for position, Lake Peterson. And remember how big those mistakes can add up?
That's right.
He is 4 seconds back, all from the mistakes on that entry and pit lane. Otherwise, he'd be right there.
60 laps into this race so far here at Chicagoland. It has been entertaining, though no yellow flags yet. It is Kevin Smith, the leader, Justin Yee in that number 2 position. Lake Peterson, his teammate, right there. Sean Brightsman has pitted. Ron Hunter has pitted. And here comes the cars back on the cycle of pit stops coming back on the racetrack. Justin, you got to report what's going on.
That's a speeding penalty for Brightsman and why he's not in. So not only has he gone for the overcut and didn't get the caution he may have been looking for, he gets a speeding penalty that takes him completely out of the conversation for the win now.
That's going to at least put him a lap down, 2 laps down, maybe more for the penalty of the Brights Boutique Toyota Camry as finally Sean Brightsman squills the tires, exiting off the pit lane, and he will enter back on time and scoring 1 lap down in the 23rd position. By the way, 19 cars back on the lead lap. Ryan Bloom, Justin, COTA winner for the trucks last Thursday. His first career, by the way. Northwest Truck or Cup Series win came for the driver at Coda in the 25. He is now the first car lap down in 20th.
And a 5-second longer pit stop as well, and is trying the undercut call to try and be in the conversation for that too. Doing a solid job keeping up. Give credit to Casey Garber as well, though. Currently in turns 3 and 4, is up 17 positions and holding off an undercut call from Brian Reynolds and older tires of Robert Gambill. Casey Garber, one of the storylines of the race, now down into turn 1, needing to close up 4 seconds to get up to Peterson and O'Hare.
Garber now in that number 5 position. Chevrolet, 64 of 134 laps, by the way. The working lap 64 now. Garber comfortably in that number 5 spot. All the while, Smith is that leader. He's trying to run these guys down, Justin.
Trying as hard as he might right now. Has fresher tires than the race leaders. For reference, Casey Garber does. However, 31.7s for the race leaders, 31.795 for Garber last time by. It's not going to be easy because part of the factor is draft, believe it or not, is pretty substantial here, even with this package when it comes to the speedways for the straightaways. And for Garber, he doesn't have that drafting partner, and that's something that will have to come straight from corner precision and speed to have a chance to get up to the race leaders, have a chance to get up to a possible few spots up. Trouble behind him, Brian Reynolds all over the racetrack, nearly up into the wall as Jeff Stabnow trying to clear him down through 1, scrape the side of the 12 car.
And mind you, we're also coming up on 100 miles completed in this race. There's still 101 miles to go. We're coming to the halfway. Cross flags next time by, as it is still Kevin Smith, the leader. There's Jeff Stabnow. Justin, don't want to jinx him. My goodness, I don't want to jinx him. But what a good run for the 24 right now. He's right there holding off, getting around Ron Hunter, the lap car. He is sitting in a good spot in the top 10 and 6th.
Also making the position up on Robert Gambill just now. Stabnow is amongst those on fresher tires. In fact, some of the freshest tires in the field. Need 3 seconds to get up to Casey Garber, but we mentioned that in some races, Stabnow showcased this, Wesley. Tonight's one of the examples of when he's able to dial it in, focus in, get these longer runs, keep it clean. You see what can happen.
We're halfway home this time by. 67 down, 67 to go. Let's Justin Prince and myself give you the full-filled rundown as it stands right now as you look. Jeff Stabnow, Willen and Dillon around Chicagoland. Whoa, I thought he was going to go to the safer wall there. He saved it as it crosses the line. Kevin Smith is the leader. Justin Yee is second. Stephen O'Hare is in third. Lake Peterson fourth. And Garber is in the top 5. Casey Garber sixth. Jeff Stabnow, we just showed him in that 4K Ford. It's going to be Robert Gambill, 7th. 8th is Brian Reynolds. 9th is Aaron Cooper. Toby Ritter's a solid run, Justin, in the top 10.
Carl Burke is in the midst of that battle as well in 11th position. Chris White, after a spin on the pit exit, midst of the grass, is up to 12th position in the recovery drive. William Fletcher has been very quietly running from 24th up to 13th as Red looks to charge ahead. Behind them, Troy Daggett has just taken 14th from James Vining, who's dropped to 15th. Brett Johnson, after his drift and save, is in 16th, while Frank Harris is in 17th after being up to 5th early on. Noah Sherwinski is amongst those hoping for a caution to get back on cycle in 18th. BJ Duvall, having a clean run today, is in 19th. And the first driver lap down still is Ryan Bloom in 20th.
Other cars that lap down include John Ottenbacher in 21st, Chris Camary, the 15, in 22nd. Sean Brightsman, leader of the race earlier, took that overshot of the penalty and got busted for speeding on pit road. Had to take that penalty. He's 1 lap down in 23rd. Ron Hunter, 24th. Cole Raz, bad luck of the night so far for anyone. It's for the number 10. He is now 1 lap down on the racetrack, and that is the 25 cars that, mind you, Justin, took the green took the green flag, and they're still on the racetrack even though we're a lap down or more.
It's been one of the cleanest races of the season, we'll say, with some amazing saves in the midst of things. And it's why I love, as a driver myself at times on the platform, Chicagoland puts on some great action and has this ability for drivers to stretch out, be able to settle out. And even when you have the crazy moments, there's enough space for you to hold on and save it and keep it green. And that's been part of the trend for tonight. Already on lap 73, and the drivers have put on some of their cleanest racing of the season. That drivers meeting putting in some strong effort for these drivers to pick things up tonight.
Yeah, they certainly have. And you think about this race and what we've seen so far, things have kind of calmed down, working loud, closing in on 75 laps to this event. But Justin, the beginning of the race, man, those opening 30, 40 laps, they were really exciting, very intense. And then we knew once you threw the green flag pit stops, you had everybody cycle in. It's going to separate the pack. It's going to get everybody around this racetrack. As you're looking on the track map here on my time and scoring, thanks to SDK and iRacing on LSRTV, there is no dead spots anywhere around the Chicagoland Speedway. They are taking advantage of this entire mile-and-a-half semicircle, if you will.
They indeed are, in perfect example of the battle for 7th all the way back to 11th into turn 1. Reynolds, Cooper, Burke, Gambill all side by side. Ritter's trying to run away. Burke looking for the high side, tries to get to the outside of the liquid death machine of Cooper. Gets the pole, gets the draft. Has to go up the track though is Burke to be able to run side by side and set it on up with the freshest tires in the pack.
Reynolds again mentioning that moment with Cole Raz and Chris Cameri, what a save they made. Carl Burke, by the way, good solid run for him in the top 10 right now on the racetrack as that goes on in turn number 2 to the back straightaway. All the while, all of this clamoring happening as we are approaching the century grind around the Chicagoland. And Justin, for the most part, things have calmed down, but
hold on.
For the most part, it's been, you know, calm, but the drivers are not giving an inch trying to fight for position either.
Justin Yee has just parked it. Justin Yee from second has left the building and left the racetrack. And there's no better way to phrase it. He decided he wasn't going to win, and he's done.
Could we see Kevin Smith pick up the win tonight here at Chicagoland, Justin, and get his second? Well, it would be his third Cup win. Correction. Let me see here. I know he's got 2 truck wins on the series, and it would be his first win of the year if Kevin Smith can pull this off, Justin.
You're right about the first win of the year. Absolutely a big chance now for Kevin Smith with how that pace has been all night. He's been one of the contenders, expected to be one of the contenders based on what we've seen in final practice. He's backed up the speed, and right now, here's the major thing. You mentioned those wins in the Truck Series. He was very quick in the ARCA Series back at the start of the decade. This, in his 58th start, could be Cup win number 1.
Remember how excited it was for him if he wins this race. Remember when he won his first truck win in the Northwest a couple of years ago. I think it was last year to be exact, Justin. He's already got 2 wins of the year for the driver of Kevin Smith in the Truck Series. But for a Cup win, that just takes you to another elite status. That puts you in a new club. Obviously, it's all the Northwest family, but to get a Cup win and a Truck Series win, that definitely shows you as you're one of those drivers of the elite people to watch.
And don't forget, with Justin Yee now out of the race, that brings the spotlight onto O'Hare, who is holding off Peterson's advances throughout this entire run. And for O'Hare, it's not been a pretty season at times. O'Hare looking for career win 2, and he hasn't finished higher than 3rd, really, since Gateway, since Worldwide Technology Raceway. So a lot of storylines popping up, with a lot of the battling settling on down as drivers like Brightsman continue to recover and drivers like Brett Johnson peel into the pit lane for what could be their final stops of the race.
Yeah, Brett Johnson coming in and pitting really off sequence with everyone else's. Justin, what are you thinking, bud? If nobody, whoa, Burke, hold on there. Reeling in the car, let down Brightsman on the penalty a moment ago. But my question is this, as we see Brightsman and Burke go at it here for position on the racetrack, which, mind you, Carl Burke is in 7th. Sean Brightsman is in 18th, 1 lap down. Justin, what lap are you thinking? Green flag pit stop spike come into play again here before the finish of this race, or do you think they can go to the end?
I think for the race leaders, it's around lap 100, lap 90 to 100, should rather say, because that makes the most sense to be able to split the race up in even parts of 45, 45, to the end around 40 laps, or go, as we talked about at the top, what many drivers seem to prefer is 50, 100, and then the 34 to the end. Wouldn't be surprised, based on what we've seen with everyone stretching around 50 laps, that they go that mindset of going for the window opening at around 95 to 100 laps down on the board to be able to come in for the final time for fuel.
And we'll certainly watch all of those strategies and cycle of events take place. There's Fletcher, the Red Dog car, 028. Behind him, James Vining, the Catman. How about that, Justin? Good solid run for him with the Toyota Camry. The, as I lie, dying Toyota. It is sitting in the number 13 position in the 333 right now. That's a good run for the Catman.
How often do we see cats chasing dogs, though?
I like that. Ruff, ruff. Meow, meow.
Through turn 3, Fletcher has been very quiet, as talked about during the rundown, keep in mind. Currently in 12th position, up 12 spots, one of the drivers who didn't set qualifying times. And just to say that, he bounced off the wall in turn 1. And it's now very tight.
Here comes the Catman on the inside. Trying to run down Fletcher to pass him for that spot. All the while now, Fletcher will probably be yelling, here, kitty, 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 kitty. And it makes sense now with the Catman of Vining in front of him. All the while, lap 85, the distance. This is the best battle on the racetrack, Justin. Believe it or not, it's for 12th and 13th. Here comes now White. That's the lap car. Cooper. No, correction, my fault, my apologies. Aaron Cooper is on the lead lap in the 71. Audenbacher right there with him. That is a car lap down.
Audenbacher after speed penalty early, offset 3 wide, gets to the inside of Cooper. Cooper having to wait in turn because of that. Near identical in terms of the tires. Last time by, Cooper losing 3/10 to Chris White, in part with Audenbacher there. Although Chris White preferring to rim ride the top compared to the middle line for Cooper.
Justin, did you think that this race would go caution-free so far, 87 laps into it?
I thought we'd maybe see 1 caution, but I think I'm not surprised to see it go no cautions, though, based on what we've seen throughout the past when it comes to some of the racing at Chicagoland in general, should rather say. But for this season, of course, it started off a bit rough, we'll say, for the Speedway side, but drivers have been able to settle it on down here tonight to put on some fabulous racing, as we've talked about. Pit window is open for those wanting to split it up towards 90 to make it to the end of the 45-lap run. Fletcher is in. Burke is coming in.
Green flag pit stops, we are thinking, coming within the next, well, they're already sending it now as Carl Burke is already in, as you mentioned, Justin. Whaley coming in, Fletcher Whaley we also talked about, or William Fletcher, my bad, coming into the pit lane, the 028 Red Dog machine. So we're seeing cars that are in the top 15 pit. Obviously, does that put them, Justin, in a sequence of possibly seeing a Burke or a Fletcher possibly pull an upset and win this race here on the strategy of pitting early?
Well, for Fletcher, he picked up a speeding penalty, so cross that part of it out. But when it comes to Burke, might be in line for a top 10. We'll have to see how it plays out, because they're hoping that the undercut with the tire difference of about 1 second is enough to be able to gain enough time on the racetrack to where some of the others may make mistakes that they were battling with. We'll say this, for Aaron Cooper, he lost a ton of time, Wesley, trying to deal with John Ottenbacher for this entire run here. The 89 has just plateaued in between the two of them, between him and Chris White, should say.
We're closing in on 9 laps to lap 100 is what I meant to say. There is Chris White. He sits in 7th spot, 15 seconds back. Justin, I got to ask you, when the cars in the back that are mired like Chris White or others are, when they see the leader Kevin Smith and O'Hare, do you follow monkey see, monkey do? As we see Gamble pitted in, he's in the top 10. But when that leader pulls in, do you think the smart thing is for O'Hare, Peterson, Garber, Stabnow, and more to mimic him and follow him when the 00 pulls in?
I think that's a possibility, and as Gamble runs over a bit of the pit stop for a second there. To answer your question in regards to that, it really depends. Do you want to try and see if you can reel them in on raw pace, or do you want to try and see if you can make up a couple seconds? We're about to see the test, though. Smith has just peeled to the pit lane. Smith is coming in very quick to the pit lane. O'Hare and Peterson are going for the overcut as Smith is into the lane.
You mentioned the word overcut, Justin. If there's somebody watching that might not understand that analogy, can you explain what the overcut is?
To put it simply, basically that means going further on the pit strategy. Smith going too far into the pit stall.
He about hit the pace car.
Yep, that lost him a lot of time backing it up and trying to get into the gears by about 1 second. But that overcut now may become beneficial for O'Hare and Peterson, which, to put it simply, means you're trying to go further on the pit window or further along the racetrack compared to your fellow competitors to gain spots based on having fresher tires after your pit stop and or thinking you're going to be quicker on your out laps compared to your competitors going for the earlier stop. That's something to think about. Peterson is in, O'Hare is stretching it.
Yeah, O'Hare stretching it, so is Stabnow and White. Cooper, Daggett have now moved into the top 5 as well. And remember, Kevin Smith pitted by himself. Peterson and the others pitted behind him a lap later, as now Stephen O'Hare showing signs of slowing, but still back up to speed, going by Harris and Vining. Kamari, all this going on lap number 95, and I don't see O'Hare showing signs of stopping, getting ready to drop onto the pit lane just yet, Justin.
Well, the tough thing when it comes to O'Hare in this decision here, the traffic is coming up at the worst possible time in those on fresher tires who elected to go for a pit stop earlier. Fletcher and company also, as Stabnow indeed in from 2nd spot.
I gotta wonder, Justin, if there might be a penalty coming to Jeff Stabnow. He looked like he was really trying to lock up the tires on the binders when he pulled the 24 into the pits.
No penalty in the sim, so Stabnow looks to be okay.
And he just took his fast repair.
That's interesting with the fast repair decision here, because Stabnow looked pretty clean throughout most of this run and had been looking very quick regardless. 14.8, nearly looping the tires for a moment.
Spinning the tires as he makes the exit off the pit lane of that next gen number 24 LSRTV CRN 4K Ford Mustang. Back out on the race course. Remember, they cannot enter back onto the speedway until they come into the blend line. That blend line is that blue cone nestled off of turn number 2. Once he passes that cone right there, the blue line, then he can blend back onto the racing groove with the other drivers as he joins Billings, Montana native, of him being out of the Billings, Montana as well. John Ottenbacher, Jeff Stabnow. Here comes O'Hare. Pitter, he's in 41. His Ford's in.
So O'Hare nice and smooth into the pit lane. Likely may not cycle up to the point, but just had to back it up. That's a problem for O'Hare. That is 2-3 seconds lost with just that smidge.
Green flag pit stops. Aaron Cooper is into the 71 now. Oh, look out. O'Hare on exit. And they had to check up on one another, and he made it. 71. Good run tonight, Justin, for Aaron Cooper.
Cooper in the short and mid run has been very solid indeed. We'll have to try and claw through the pack in a couple of regards. Chris White, Unstow's looking to see if the strategy can land in his direction. Right now, projection about 10, 11 cars are on the lead lap. Check that 12. White, Daggett, both staying out. The rest of the field, that's just about pit, except for Duvall, Brightsman, Johnson, and Burke. Or rather, scratch Johnson and Burke, who have already come on in, should say.
Chris White is the leader. He crosses the start-finish line, and we are on lap 100. Triple digits on the scoreboard. 100 laps in, 34 laps to go. No yellow flag yet, and it has been interesting as green flag pit stops are continuing to throw a monkey wrench in the scoring pylon. There goes Daggett. There goes Duvall. Good strong run for him right now. He gives up a top 10, locks up the tires as the 85 Justin on the pit lane.
The Outlaw boss, we've seen good speed before incidents in some of the races. Tonight, it's just not been Duvall's night, to be quite frank. He has kept it clean, though. That's the bright side. One of the first Speedway races thing. When it comes to that 85, we've seen him stay out of trouble today. By the way, O'Hare has cycled to 4th in terms of those who have pit.
O'Hare bonsai into the outside safer wall barrier, and guess who it was in front of? The same guy that did it earlier, Cole Raz. Ron Hunter in the wall in 22. They all hold it together, Justin, no caution.
Staying green still. But this continues to be a spot of intrigue. This is on and bunkers in the grass.
Will he draw a caution? No. He comes back through the Geico restart zone, Justin. But here's the deal. He just literally put himself in a bad spot pit relating.
Annenbacher, remember, had a speeding penalty on the previous run. Needs to come to the pit lane and is trying to just crawl it around the bottom of the racetrack at this point. Should be able to make it to the end. It's just a matter of do not loop it. Do not bring it back into the traffic. Wait for a chance to get it back up to speed to try it again.
And obviously he is going to drop onto the bottom of the apron this time by and come to the pit lane. He has no choice in the matter in his LSRTV CRN 4K Ford Mustang GT. Obviously a lot better entry onto the pit lane for the 89 this time by. We saw Brett Johnson overshot his pit stall whenever, or he about spun actually coming out of the pit lane. Here comes the leader now, Chris White. He's in, number 6, money stop. Give Troy Daggett the lead. Oh, and mind you, Justin, cycle back around. Daggett's got a pit. Kevin Smith will go to the lead.
Yeah, but here's the thing when it comes to that mistake in the pit lane for Smith. That buffer that the 00 had, that would have been so beneficial to make his strategy work and gave him the leeway if he elected to do so, potentially, to go on and make an overcut work because everyone else would have older tires. Peterson is coming, and quick. This time by at the stripe, 3/10 gained. It's back on for the lead after being calm for Smith for much of the middle stints of this race. Peterson has a chance. He's within 6 car lengths down the back straightaway with heavy traffic in front of your leader.
Blake Peterson is right there, as you mentioned, Justin, working with lap cars all in the midst of Kevin Smith. How does he negotiate by them? He bonsais up the racetrack, about plowed to the driver left to Ron Hunter. He clears by Hunter. He clears by these other cars, gets by Daggett's machine, who led a moment ago, mind you. And Kevin Smith now going to the lead as he also clears William Fletcher's car. 2 laps down. That's exactly, Justin, what he needed to do to get away from Blake Peterson, but Peterson is now going to clear those lap cars into 3.
Peterson got held up for a quick moment, but just about cleared them even quicker. 1 lap fresher tires. Peterson trying to use every bit of that tire wear. With 27 laps to go, the battle is on. Peterson trying the middle. Smith trying to back it down. Peterson trying to near full throttle it. within a car length for the race lead.
The bottom line is whatever you have at the end of this race is what you're going to have for the end. You can't pit no more unless we see a late race caution, but I don't know if that might be something to make you think of giving up track position. Kevin Smith is in the lead, looking for that first ever win in the Northwest Racing Series Cup Division. He's got 2 wins this year in the trucks. He's won before in the trucks, but never in Cup. He is looking to do that, but Peterson to the victor for the spoils. He's trying to do that in the 9 down the back straightaway.
Peterson has the chance. Peterson thinking about an opportunity, backs it up. Last time, Smith really slowed it on Apex. Peterson ready this time, gives a little buffer, looking for the boost, coming down the front straightaway.
Across the line, down below the apron, both cars are. They climb the banking here at Chicagoland back into turn number 1 and 2. Working down into turn number 2 to the back straightaway. It's still going to be Smith, a half a car length on Peterson.
Trying to build it up. Peterson now bringing some patience here after pushing the tires. Now looking a little bit higher though. Trying to go for the arc. Can't set it up quite yet on Smith.
Past the start-finish line, another lap here. Laps winding down, under 25 laps remaining. It is still Smith. There's on board with Lake Peterson in that 2nd position. He's in the 5th high gear. He is trying to run down the Hermiston, Washington native. All the while, makes the move to the inside, just can't clear him yet. Here he's got to run into 3. Smith throws the block. Is he there? They're working out a 4 side by side.
Smith nearly hitting the wall. Peterson clears, coming down the front straightaway. Lake Peterson back to the race lead. Now he scrapes the wall with the right rear tire. Smith tries to find a way to get back there in the midst of his draft.
Lake Peterson to the lead. You saw the pass on the in-car. He moves around Kevin Smith. Smith will fall back to 2nd. There's the interval now. Here comes now White getting around Raz. Driver many laps down as Chris White is back 1 lap down on the racetrack. Daggett is pitting in the 99. This is going to put Chris White on the tail end of the lead lap, and Justin 1:14 coming up on the board. We're closing in on 20 remaining at Chicagoland.
Here comes a chance for the battle for 3rd, by the way. Garber trying to hold off Stephen O'Hare, and Garber from a non-qualifying position, 22nd starting spot. O'Hare, who's been running inside the top 5 all race, ready to duke it out down along the front straightaway. O'Hare has 4 lap fresher tires to the 94. That's the tough thing, Wesley, is defending when you have very old Goodyear Eagles compared to your competitors. That adds up to a couple tenths in some cases.
When they come to the line this time by for Lake Peterson, Kevin Smith, as well as Garber and O'Hare, you're seeing battle for 3rd. It will be 20 laps to go. We're settling in here for the finish. We're going to take it to you. We'll quickly, first, we'll pause for 10 seconds of network identification on the Community Radio Network. And, oh, actually, yeah, my bad. I looked at the clock wrong. I'm sorry. I thought it was 12:51. My bad. As they go back into turn number 3. Oh, my goodness. 20 to go. Oh, wow. This race is just...
Are you okay?
And it's been caution-free. I thought it was 12:51 a.m. Eastern time. I'm sorry. By the way, Justin, though, 19 to go, and this battle for 3rd continues here. Wow.
Yes, indeed. O'Hare quickly clearing on by Casey Garber. And now, you have to give credit. This has been a stellar night for racing, to say the very least. The focus has to go to the race leaders, though. It's still 4 tenths the gap, but here's the tough thing. Peterson and Smith have a lot of traffic to deal with. They have James Vining, Frank Harris amongst those to deal with. They have Aaron Cooper, Robert Gambill, Chris White, all within range in the next bit, as well as Cole Raz, for them to potentially be a factor in the midst of the fight, as this could become a factor with 17.5 laps to go.
Yeah, this is it right here as you're starting to see these cars fighting it out. There goes Ryan Bloom, the Coda truck winner, up on the outside lane, and the Gibbs way says, have at it, boys. Tonight, Ryan Bloom just not having the car to compete, if you will, as right now he is one lap down in the top 15. All the while, Justin, there you see it. O'Hare, Garber, best battle. This is for third. You got to wonder, though, is Kevin Smith, he's right there within the hunt of Lake Peterson, half a second back, playing possum and making a run here down the stretch. You see the end of the Peterson car, moving by Vining, moving by Harris. There they are, 1 and 2. Clear a path, people.
That's a tough question because remember, Peterson lost a lot of the ground because of mistakes on the first pit stop. Smith, though, during that first run was lightning quick. This run, though, the final run of the race, something's just been a little bit different. It's like the rhythm's just been off for the 00 with this set of tires. He's just been making marginal mistakes that have built up and snowballed to the point where Peterson has just been able to take advantage of every mistake that he's built up with the past 30, 40 laps.
There is Kevin Smith, almost half a second back to the leader. There's the 9, the Valvoline machine, Lake Peterson. If Lake Peterson wins this race, he will have picked up in 7 poles, in 12, 13 starts counting tonight, his 7th win to go along with 8 top 5s and 10 top 10 finishes for the driver of the number 9. Oh, and Justin, here's somebody that wasn't even present tonight that we haven't really even talked about. Caden Anderson is probably going to take a hit in the points because the 37 was not here.
Very much so. We'll take a hit in the points. You know who else we haven't talked about, throughout the night in terms of points? The points leader. Brian Barnes did not make the start tonight either, which was surprising. So it's a big night in terms of points gains for Peterson specifically, especially since Cole Raz has struggled. You have no Anderson and Barnes, and Dan West Jr., both the West family racing drivers, did not take the green flag tonight, while Brightsman picked up a speeding penalty. Lake Peterson has a huge chance to go from 37 back to possibly being the points leader after this night, while having a couple less starts than Barnes, Anderson, and Raz.
And that would be a big climb, by the way. He already went up 2 spots the previous race when we raced at Road America. He went from 6th to 4th for the driver of the number 9. And, of course, for the driver with 6 wins, looking for win number 7. Sheer domination this year for the driver of the number 9. He leads the way. 11 laps to go here at Chicagoland Speedway. Caution free for 122 laps here tonight. I cannot believe it, Justin Prince, especially after the phenomenal wild race we had with the Sim 500 Cup cars at Atlanta earlier.
Well, it's super speedway style racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway on that side. You never know, and drivers were not expecting, in many cases, green flag pit stops there. This track is a different type of circuit, though. Different package, different style of racing, different impact for the tire wear, and it has showcased the different amounts of comers and goers throughout the night. But with under 10 laps to go, O'Hare and Garber are still looking to settle it out for third down the back straightaway. O'Hare looking for one of his best finishes over the past year and a half.
I will just say this, the opening 40 laps of this race did not disappoint, but since then it balanced itself out with strategy of, like you mentioned, Justin, green flag pit stops, the sequences of when do you need to pit, the strategy of saving your tires. All of this has happened here as we are under 10 laps to go. 9 remaining as you see O'Hare and Garber. Best battle, that's for third. By the way, Smith less than a second back to Lake Peterson for the win. 8 remaining now as these lead cars, Justin, fight through lap traffic as they work off of turn number 4. There goes O'Hare below the bottom of the apron. Daggett, by the way, still a lap down. He's been strong in the Nike Just Do It machine, and they work off of turn number 2.
For Troy Daggett, though, he's lost the lap in the midst of things with the different strategy calls, despite having the freshest tires in the field. Outside of Brightsman at this point, just wasn't the right dice call. Only Frank Harris was eligible for a position to make up. In terms of those on his lap cycle, he's now the first driver lap down. It's not an easy time, though, to clear the traffic despite the fresher tires because of some of the lap put on.
Daggett up on the outside. Here comes O'Hare trying to clear him. Nope, he'll close in behind Daggett's car. Harris in front of the machine of Garber. All this goes on. 6 to go when they come to the line for Peterson. And the battle for third, moving through lap cars as they work to the stripe.
Still lots of traffic as Casey Garber nearly comes across Frank Harris's front bumper. Hold on firmly, though, for that position for 4th spot. Keep in mind, Jeff Stabnow, one of the best runs for the 24 all season, coming up to 5 to go, is in 5th position. Just 10 seconds back of the race leader with a big buffer over some of the others. Brightsman charging through everybody, meanwhile, on freshies.
Yeah, Sean Brightsman is like a man possessed, if you will, as he is just flying through the field with these new fresh tires. Brian Reynolds driving into the grass off the pace in the 12. Will he hold it together? He'll stay on the bottom of the apron of the pavement. So a problem on the Brian Reynolds machine. The leaders are overtaking him. 5, now make it 4 to go when they come to the start-finish line. 6 miles remain at Chicagoland.
Reynolds very slow after that bounce off the wall with Ron Hunter. Trying to keep it to the low side to allow this thing to go green. All this as well, this has held up some of the race leaders a bit. Peterson lost a bit of ground with the Dodge. Smith is within now 0.8 of a second and trying to close with Brightsman looking to zip.
Yeah, Sean Brightsman just flying through the pack. Here he goes down to the inside of Peterson as Kevin Smith crosses the line. He's the 2nd place car. You just saw a little view of Sean Brightsman flying by Lake Peterson. There he clears him into turn number 1 and 2. Hey, how about Toby Ritter's, Justin? Good solid run for Clifford. The Thunder Road Budweiser machine will come away with the top 10 here tonight in 7th.
Started in the top 5, has ran in the top 10 all race long. What a run indeed. But keep in mind with those checkups, if there's any mistakes from Peterson and Smith, O'Hare and Garber have made up a couple seconds as a result of the checkups with under 2 laps to go. Peterson, though, is focused on one thing: close it out under the lights.
Close it out indeed, down the back straightaway. He'll work his way into that 3rd turn. Lake Peterson, nobody in his midst. He's now cut the lead to almost 3/4 of a second back to Kevin Smith. There's the interval. If he better go, he better make a move now. They come to the line. The CRN, 1 to go. White flag waves. 1 more lap remaining for Lake Peterson. He's in turn number 1 and 2 for the final time at Chicagoland. And should I say caution free?
Peterson had to recover from 1 pit mistake, make it 2 pit mistakes during the first pit stop window. Smith responded with his own mistakes during the 2nd window. And now Lake Peterson with the long run pace coming out of turn 4 looks to seal it.
The dominator of the season comes to the line. It's Lake Peterson for win number 7 of the year in the Northwest Cup Series flag to flag. Can I say that? No yellows at Chicagoland. He wins, holds off Kevin Smith, who was on a quest for his first career Northwest Racing Series Cup win. He'll settle for 2nd. Stephen O'Hare 3rd, getting around Garber. Dustin, they'll cool down. Lake Peterson just I mean, I'm telling you, when we're not talking about super friends of Anderson and Cole Raz and their string of bad luck tonight, or not even being present, Lake Peterson has just took his game to another level from last season. Phenomenal.
Hitting a long run when it comes to this season, and he just emphasized and backed it up with the pace. You have to wonder what could have been for Kevin Smith if he didn't make that one mistake on the pit entry in terms of his stall during the final window. But what a recovery in turn from Peterson from his mistakes. He nearly spun the car out during his first pit stop.
The celebration underway. The Northwest High Five Salute is what we call this here in post-race, as right now Lake Peterson burning it down along with a host of others, celebrating down in the infield, or down in the tri-oval here at start-finish. Let's look at the unofficial results. By the way, Austrian Grand Prix for the Major Series presented by Majors Garage this Sunday night on iRacing on LSRTV. Make sure you tune in. Lake Peterson, the winner. Kevin Smith is second. Stefano Harris third. Casey Garber fourth. Jeff Stabnow, Justin, a top 5 for the Billings, Montana native. He is climbing. Good run. Carl Berg, 6th, and a good run for him. I mentioned Toby Ritters with a good solid top 10 in 7th. Chris White, Aaron Cooper, Brett Johnson. Good drivers that are normally in the back are having problems, Justin. Solid top 10s at Chicagoland.
And some of those drivers had some major slides at some points, too. Robert Gambill in 11th spot rounds out the lead lap drivers. Troy Daggett in 12th was amongst the top 5 at one point. Frank Harris is the same conversation point, but in 13th in the end. Ryan Bloom spent much of the race towards the back, but still finished in 14th. He was back in 20th before the final pit stop window. The Catman James Viney finishes in 15th. BJ Duvall in 16th. Sean Breisman, after a speeding penalty, finishes in 17th. Briar Reynolds, after his late race incident, 18th. Cole Raz, after his incident down the front straightaway, 19th. John Ottenbacher, the top 20.
And the rest of the lineup includes cars 3 laps down or more. William Fletcher, Chris Kamari. I'll still think that was an awesome save between him and Briar Reynolds with Cole Raz. That could have been the only caution of the race, but it didn't happen. Ron Hunter, Noah Sherwinski, welcome to the Northwest Racing Series. Another solid race of 50 laps down in 24th. And whatever happened to Justin Yee, Justin Prince said he didn't feel like he could win this race. He said, I'm parking it. That's what he did. But his friend and teammate, Lake Peterson, picked up the win. Coming up, the finish line post-race wrap-up, as we will get the top 3. We'll grab them for interviews. Lake Peterson, Kevin Smith, and Stefano Hare all on the way. Plus, we are at the top of the hour. We will pause for 10 seconds and come back from Chicagoland. This is CRN, the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to the Community Radio Network. Follow us via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to other games at 87.5 FM or join us anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway. iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. Justin Prince, Wesley Allen back with you, caution free here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. The opening 40 laps did not disappoint. It was competitive. It was exciting. Then that stretch of saving tires, the pit strategy, green flag runs, fuel economy, and more decided the outcome. But it's all said and done. Win number 7 of the year for the driver of Lake Peterson. We'll talk to him in just a moment. First, let's grab Stephen O'Hare, the 41 American Touch-Up Ford. Your third, your take of this race, and what a battle holding off Garber there at the end.
Yeah, it was great. Green racing. What's that? Sorry, I'll speak up. It was nice to get a green flag run in there, a green race, and actually use some strategy. I thought it was a great race. I watched that last pit stop, should have came in a little early and neared Lake. But I felt like at the end there I had a fast car and was tracking them down, but it was quick all night, so good run for us.
We were talking about throughout the broadcast, when it comes to Chicagoland Speedway, it seems to tend to go towards this way. Clean racing, caution-free or minimal cautions. How was that like to go the full distance without a yellow flag throughout the entire run, to go straight up battling it out for about an hour and a half, 2 hours straight?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, I think we hope for that. We got to battle it out. We got to use some strategy. Running pace laps isn't fun for anybody. So it was a lot of fun to actually be able to race around a lot of guys. We haven't necessarily had that opportunity thus far in the season. So it was fun to see some speed. There's quite a few guys running up front. Had great nights, so it was fun to see them, and I think it just goes to show the talent level and competitiveness of the league when we have those green flag races.
Yeah, Steph, and I think I can agree with you 100% on that. Definitely a different outcome of the race besides being caution-filled and seeing a solid green flag run from green to checker. Very abnormal for us to see that, especially with these new next-gen cars. Segue that into you thanking your sponsors in closing, but do you feel like you guys have finally started to get the niche on this new next-gen car and figuring out how the handling is to race these things?
Yeah, I think that they're just a little bit more predictable. It takes a little bit more skill. Practice actually works. I think previously they were just so sketchy. It was difficult to predict them, and I think now you have an opportunity to put in some laps and practice and actually improve. So I think hopefully we've turned the corner. But with that said, yeah, the American Touch-Up Ford was quick tonight. I'd like to thank Nicole Brand Photography, American Touch-Up, and Beaver State Racing. Certainly you guys at LSRTV and the Northwest Racing Series tonight was a great example of the talent and skill of the guys in the league.
That's Stephen O'Hare, the 41. He'll finish in the number 3 position. Runner-up in the race. He's got 2 truck wins this year. He was looking for that first career Cup race win in the Northwest Racing Series out of Hermiston, Washington. Kevin Smith. Kevin, so close by mere 3/4 of a second, if you would, to the win on Lake Peterson. Your take of the race and finishing second. You having fun out there?
Man, I'm having a ton of fun. You guys saw the first part of that race. It was really cool to, get some, kind of battling there with Lake, and then Cole came up in there, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think Cole just needs. I just think Lake needs to park it for a little bit and let the rest of us fight it out.
Okay. But that, of course, leads to a big question. What happened during that final run? Because we've seen the mistake in the pit lane that cost that buffer time, but the pace seemed like a major difference compared to what we've seen at the start of the race.
Yeah, so, you make a mistake and then you're just chasing it. I drove through my pit stop and had to pull it back. Obviously lost I don't know, 2, 3, 4 seconds there, whatever that is. And, you feel like you got to kind of go out there and get it all back. And, you're just missing your marks and not doing what you should. And by the time, he got to me, I was kind of used up a little bit. And I just got to credit to him. He's just so good. The guy's good.
I'll tell you, are you disappointed or are you happy with this second place finish? Because you're looking for that first Northwest Cup win. I know that's something you really were trying to put your sights and goals on.
Yeah, I mean, you're disappointed a little bit not to win, but to finish second to Lake, be on a podium with Stefan, I mean, that's just awesome. Finishing second to him, I really do feel like a winner in a lot of regards. So he's just that good. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of disappointment. Been nice to kind of punch the ticket and be able to step back a little bit. But you got to beat him. You're gonna have to beat him in the playoffs. So you have to race him hard in these races and figure some things out. And he just pushes all of us. So it's great.
Hey, before I let you go, thank your sponsors, buddy.
Yeah, I want to thank Click It RV. My employer and just a great outfit there. If anyone's in the market for an RV, travel trailer, motorhome, that sort of thing, look us up, clickitrv.com. I want to thank my teammates, Thunder Road Racing. I want to thank you guys, LSRTV. Like I always say, you guys just do a heck of a job. I love going back and watching these broadcasts. I want to thank our administrators for the league. And really, just my competitors. It's awesome. My competitors are great.
From Hermiston, Washington, Kevin Smith will be the number 2 finisher here in this race. We go to Victory Lane.
One more thing real quick? One more
Sure,
thing?
Kevin. Go ahead, brother.
So I live in Walla Walla, Washington. And it's Hermiston, Oregon was where Dashels was. But yeah, Walla Walla, Washington. Shout out, Walla Walla, Washington.
Walla Walla, Washington. Well, I will update my announcer information and have that, my friend. From Walla Walla, Washington. Yeah, my brother lives in Australia now, and he lives in Wagga Wagga, Australia. So I think I'll remember that, okay? Walla Walla,
awesome.
Washington driver Kevin Smith in the 00, and he settles for second. Victory Lane we go. Lake Peterson, the driver of the number 9. Same old song and dance. I guess we'll do it again 7 times now. Your take of this race. Caution free, though, to earn it this time. Mad respect by all of your peers and competitors. I think they're just tired of losing to you, Lake. Congratulations.
Yeah, it means a lot when it's coming from your peers. I think I raced Kevin a little bit too hard there. I didn't really cut him any brakes there in the beginning. Ended up using my stuff. I was trying to see how valuable clean air was, but it turns out that I needed to balance a little bit of tire wear in there as well. And Kevin had me beat there in that first run. After messing up first run, messing up getting on a pit road, then messing up getting into my box that first run, it was pretty much like it couldn't get any worse. So kind of just went back to school watching Stefan O'Hare, getting some advice from my teammates, Cole, just trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. And by the end of it, I think I was able to get a little bit better handle on the car and the track and understand what I needed to do to maximize my lap times and stuff. But yeah, definitely, I needed Kevin to make a mistake there to get back to him. Thankfully, I guess the iRacing gods were not looking upon him there, and it allowed me to sneak back up in the picture and battle in there for the win.
Unofficially, by the way, you're now the points leader. Like, in what's been an outright dominant campaign, 7 victories, 7 poles, 9 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and 13 starts. What is that like, knowing how the pace has been throughout the campaign, but knowing some of your best pals are always right there ready to pounce the second you slip up? Because guess who's 1 point behind you unofficially? Cole.
Yeah, by the way, that just became official there as Lake Peterson did take the points lead. You're right, Justin.
I did. That's really cool. I've been trying to get that back after missing a few races, or just get it. This is the first time I've led the points in the Northwest Racing Series, so it's pretty cool to be able to do that. As you alluded to, like, you make a mistake and they'll pounce, so you can't really Can't really afford to have any screw ups throughout the race. Something bit Cole in the middle of the race there. I don't know, but it grabbed his car and threw it in the wall. It's quite an odd circumstance there. And I really thought he had the best car today. He was definitely on rails there in the beginning after getting the track figured out with limited practice. And something just bit him, ended up in the wall and broke a toe link, and pit road wasn't his friend either. But yeah, I mean, you can't make any mistakes, especially when you're battling with really competitive people. So yeah, you just got to be on your A game.
Well, Lake, I guess there's nothing else left to say, buddy, but congratulations. 1 point lead over Cole Raz, 10 points over Brian Barnes, 12 points over Caden Anderson, 29 on Sean Brightsman, your top 5, and at least in the top 10, you've got 126 points back on Ryan Bloom. Do you see this momentum going into the postseason? Obviously, making a run for a championship. Final question, segue that to your sponsors. Do you think this is your year to go for the title?
Yeah, I mean, kind of every year you gotta go in with a mindset of like this is your year, especially when you're able to click off some victories. I wish there was just a tad bit more road courses in the schedule, because those seem to be, I've seen it getting those figured out here as of recently. But I got to get this oval stuff down a little bit better. I feel like I'm pretty good, but not the fastest car, either Cole or Caden. Kevin was extremely fast today, Dan, Sean. I mean, I just gotta go back to school a little bit, maybe practice a little bit more than I have, and see if I can't get these ovals done a little bit more. Yeah, it's been a great year so far, and we're kind of getting near the playoffs, and I hope to continue this momentum on into it. As for sponsors, I really want to thank everyone at Ski Fleet Enterprises and KAR. Have a great group of friends there, and awesome teammates that are extremely valuable in getting this stuff figured out. I want to thank everyone at Northwest Racing Series. I felt like we put on an awesome show today. No cautions, really clean, competitive racing. Our admins that helped put this together, Jeff, Sean. It's not easy putting an ordeal like this together, and it's really well ran, and it's awesome. It's a privilege to be a part of it. And I really want to thank Phoenix Designs for these slick paint schemes. I thought the Valvoline looks good underneath the lights. And you guys, your broadcasts are awesome, A1, and I watch them every night after it's all said and done. So thank you guys, and I really appreciate it.
Blake Peterson picking up his 7th win this year, and also he moves to the #1 spot in the points lead. Justin, I bring you in on our final closing take of things. We'll prepare for the Northwest Racing Series trucks. They'll be at Road America on Thursday. Next Cup event will be next Monday night. That will be, of course, at Pocono Raceway. Bottom line, your take of this event, caution-free, great of race. Lake Peterson, Kevin Smith, Cole Raz, Snake Bit, the good, the bad, the ugly. And in addition to that, if you weren't here tonight, you miss races, you fall back in the points. We saw that happen to some pretty key drivers here tonight, like Brian Barnes, Caden Anderson, Dan West Jr., and others.
Indeed, but when it comes to the race in itself, it was definitely the type of night where if you didn't execute, you lost lots of time. Sean Brightsman, Cole Raz, amongst those who headlined that banner. But in the end, it came down to who could execute during the money stop. Who can make sure they didn't make that one little mistake? Kevin Smith made that one little mistake, and that 2 seconds ended up being absolutely huge in the grand scheme of things, Wesley, compared to what we've seen from much of the night. Lake Peterson, though, right there to take advantage. A great recovery from Lake Peterson to bounce back from his own mistake during the first pit stops of the race.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Of course, when it's all said and done, 7 wins now for the driver of Lake Peterson. Kevin Smith will have to reset, regroup, and look for that first win. The driver out of Walla Walla, Washington, next week when we go to the Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway, New Hampshire, all on the way. Follow them at Northwest Racing Series on Facebook, at LSRTV, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. For Rocket Media, Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten in the production. For Justin Prince, I'm Wesley out.